Hey everyone! This short presentation explains all the parts of the rhetorical situation that you are in every day. Really, you are in a rhetorical situation at this moment. Welcome! Let's begin. First, rhetoric is the purposeful use of language and images to persuade an audience. Many people have a negative idea about rhetoric. People tend to think it's manipulative, but really, rhetoric is involved in every communication. You use rhetoric when you tweet, Instagram, or Snapchat. You use rhetoric to persuade your instructor when you email them to ask for an extension on an assignment. Ads use rhetoric, and street signs use rhetoric. Even marriage proposals use rhetoric. I mean, he wears a tux, signaling his seriousness, takes her to a beach, signaling his romantic feelings toward her, and he kneels to signal that he humbles himself to his love for her. But he asked her to wear a nice dress to the beach, so is she really so surprised? But think about the literacy narrative paper you wrote. It was a fitting response to an assignment, but consider how you wanted to persuade me to think about you. Consider how you created an image or idea about yourself as a writer or student in that piece of writing. You used rhetoric. Each communication I just mentioned is created within and by a rhetorical situation. So these are the elements of a rhetorical situation. First, communication starts with a rhetorical opportunity or exigence, which is a problem that can be solved through communication. The sign that alerts drivers to deer in the area is a response to a problem that deer frequently leap into the road, crashing into cars. Those leaping deer are the problem. Every communication has a broader context and culture that shapes the communication. That marriage proposal features formal clothes, a romantic setting, and traditional gestures because those are the cultural standards of marriage proposals. Also, the man is proposing to the woman, another cultural standard. But with a different couple, the woman might propose to the man, and the proposal might occur in their living room because that couple's tradition is to ignore tradition. Either way, that communication is shaped by culture and context. A fitting response is an appropriate answer to that rhetorical opportunity. The man's problem is that he is in love with the woman and he wants to spend his whole life with her, but doesn't know if she feels the same. So his fitting response to that problem is to ask her to marry him. That proposal creates a rhetorical opportunity for her, and her fitting response will be either yes or no or maybe. He could say, "Will you marry me?" and she could answer, "I left the keys in the car," but that answer would not be a fitting response because it doesn't answer his question. Every communication involves a speaker or writer and an audience, and every communication has a purpose, whether it's to warn drivers to watch for deer on the road or persuade someone to get married. Every communication is delivered through a genre, a type of communication, the best medium for that communication. A marriage proposal is usually best delivered verbally, face to face. That communication genre is the most immediate and the most intimate for this type of emotional appeal. But if you need to warn drivers about deer on the road, a man on the side of the road yelling at oncoming cars about deer wouldn't be effective. Let me sum this up for you. Every day, you encounter a rhetorical opportunity, a problem, that you could solve through communication requiring a response. You create a response by considering your audience, their needs, values, knowledge, and power to act on your message. You consider your available means to convey your message. You think about the effect you want your message to have on your audience, and you consider the broader context, the factors that shape your message. If you need an answer to a question by the end of the day, is an email, text, or phone call the most appropriate means of solving that problem? Well, it depends on the problem, your purpose, and your audience. Sometimes the rhetorical opportunity you respond to is a question asked by someone else. Will you marry me? That's a rhetorical opportunity. When you answer, you create a fitting response by considering your purpose, your audience, your available means, and the broader context of the whole conversation. Let's look at one example, then we're done. Let's say you have been too sick to complete a paper by its due date, and you will fail the class if you do not turn in the paper. That's your problem, or your rhetorical opportunity. I know it might be weird to think of a problem as an opportunity, but that's the language. Okay. The context for this problem and your communication is that the syllabus says the professor will not accept any late work. You write an email to your instructor because that's your available means of communication. That's the only contact info you have. The instructor is your audience, and the broader context of this communication is that the professor states in their syllabus that they won't accept late work. Because of that context, you must persuade the instructor to accept your paper. That's your purpose, to persuade. By posing this question to the instructor, you are creating a rhetorical opportunity for them. They will create a fitting response. If you want information on the proper way to email your instructor, follow that link at the bottom.